So good evening students. Today we will see vestibular apparatus. See, vestibular apparatus is a part of the inner ear. Inner ear has two components. Okay, so cochlea and vestibular apparatus. We will see 5 points in 5 minutes. Okay, so this vestibular apparatus is having bony labyrinth and a membranous labyrinth. The membranous labyrinth contains two structures. One is the semicircular canals, other one is the utricle and saccules. The semicircular canals are of three: horizontal, anterior and posterior canals, and these utricles and saccules are connected to the semicircular canals. The second point is the saccules and utricles, they contain a structure called macula, and this macula contains otolith membrane which is covering the hair cells. So here the receptor is hair cells, like we see in the hearing. So in hearing also the receptors are the hair cells. And the semicircular canals, they contain a structure, enlargement called ampulla, and this contains a structure crista ampullaris, and this contains the cupula. Cupula is a gelatinous membrane covering the hair cells. So the saccules and utricles contains a membrane, otolith membrane, which covers the hair cells, and the semicircular canals contains the cupula, which is a membrane which covers the hair cells. So the receptors for vestibular apparatus is the hair cells, like hearing. The third point is the linear acceleration will activate the saccules and utricles. For example, driving in a car is like a linear acceleration, which is an horizontal acceleration, or going in the lift, which is a linear acceleration in a vertical manner. So this activates the saccules and utricles, and when this accelerate, the endolymph, the fluid present inside the saccules and utricles, they will activate, they will bend the hair cells. Like we have the bending of hair cells in the cochlea, and there is a movement of stereocilia against the kinocilia, and this bending causes the depolarization, and this depolarization generates the action potential. Similarly, angular acceleration, they activate the semicircular canals, and when the angular acceleration is taking place, the endolymph will be moving, and they will cause the hair cells to bend, and that causes the depolarization. So linear acceleration, saccules and utricles; angular acceleration, semicircular canals. This is the third point. The fourth point, after the activation of the vestibular apparatus, the impulses are carried to the vestibular nuclei, and from the vestibular nuclei we have two nuclei. One is the lateral vestibular nuclei, other one is the medial vestibular nuclei. From the vestibular nuclei there are two connections. One is to the spinal cord, other to the eyes. So spinal cord, that is connected by vestibulospinal tract, and from the spinal cord it controls the muscles that maintains the posture. So posture maintaining muscles, especially the anti-gravity muscles, are stimulated when we are in the movement. And second is the vestibulo-ocular tract, that is connections through the medial longitudinal fasciculus. It is a bundle which connect to the 3, 4, 6 nuclei, and that controls the eyeball. So the movement of the eyeball when the head moves, okay, that is controlled by the vestibular nuclei. So the input reaches the vestibular apparatus. From the vestibular apparatus, the vestibular nuclei is activated. From the vestibular nuclei, the vestibulospinal tract and vestibulo-ocular tract, that maintains the posture and movement of eyeball. And the final point is, the fourth point is, the vestibule also having connections with cerebellum and cerebrum. So what the cerebellum will do through the flocculonodular lobe, that is the vestibulocerebellum, it has connection with the vestibular apparatus. So when the vestibular apparatus is activated, it sends impulses to the cerebellum, and cerebellum in turn send the efferent to the vestigial nuclei in the flocculonodular lobe, and that reaches the vestibular nuclei, and again through the vestibulospinal tract. The vestibulospinal tract plays a major role in controlling the muscles that maintains the posture. And the last point is, to sum up, vestibular apparatus contains two important structures: sacules, utricles, and semicircular canals. Linear acceleration activates sacules and utricles. Angular acceleration activates semicircular canals. And you have to remember the vestibular nuclei. From the vestibular apparatus, the impulse go to the vestibular nuclei, then to the spinal cord, and that controls the muscles that maintains the posture during the motion. Thank you.